All right, well, bad news for our spec house. It looks like we have a bee swarm or a bee nest kind of trying to set up a permanent shop. So I know just who to call. My mom is a beekeeper and she's got a new tool that she got for Christmas that I think she's gonna try out here. Hopefully this hive of bees can become permanent members of the family at her place. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm at the spec house. This is not what I was planning on doing today. It's Monday and Nate sent me a text, said, Mom, there's bees here. It's right here on our own spec house. It's at the top of the column. Nathan thought they were swarming, and I don't actually know if they're a swarm or if they have moved in permanently and they're setting up housekeeping. They can't be there. They can't stay. This gives me a chance to use this, which I got for Christmas, this bee vacuum. We've used it two other times. It is marvelous. I have learned that if you are too vigorous, and you can kill them all. It's too hot. They don't have any room to, there's no air circulating, not very much anyway. So you gotta be kind of careful that you don't kill them all. And so I will be very careful. All right, here we go.
There we go. These bees are going nuts. They're just not happy bees. It was not a swarm. This was their new apartment. They even had a little honeycomb in there, so
That's right.
they're getting kicked out.
Well, Kelly and Nate captured the swarm. And it's been a day and a half. There's still a few forager bees that are there. I mean, the swarm's gone, and those that were out doing their jobs, those that were working instead of hanging around, are going to have to pay the ultimate price, because I can't get up there and put things back together with the bees sort of coming and going, and probably with just cause for being defensive. So I've got to take their lives. I'm going to use this stuff, Bee Bopper. I'm hoping it doesn't stain the wood, that hope it doesn't change anything about how the paint adheres or anything. But in the meantime, I'm going to kind of throw down on these guys, and while the fumes are clearing, I'm going to go in and get the pieces cleaned up and come out and knock this thing back together. Boy, it's been a really busy and interesting bee season so far this year. And so I'm going to show you a few of the highlights and a few of the things we've learned in what is, I think, maybe our 10th season since we started this hobby. First of all, honeybees are an amazing, amazing creature. And for many of us, they are one more really clear evidence of God's hand in nature. And one of the most astounding things that they do is to swarm or subdivide the colony, usually in the springtime. One of the fascinating and inexplicable things is that the worker bees are always controlling the demographics of the colony by the characteristics of the wax cells that they build for the queen to lay her eggs in, and then the way that those eggs are tended. By doing this, the future population of the colony, the number of new workers, new drones, and new queens, is determined days or sometimes weeks in advance. So when a colony is outgrowing the space that's available, new queen cells called supersedent cells are built, new queens are nurtured, and the first queen to hatch seeks out the other new queen cells and then kills those girls as they emerge. The old queen and the new one coexist peacefully as the new one matures in the same colony, until the old queen, with about half of the recruits, about half of the population of the colony, tanks up, they eat all the honey they can hold, and they swarm or fly away in search of a new home. Now the bees follow the queen as she leaves by scent until she lands someplace to rest and to wait. And then they clump up around her or festoon. while the scout bees are flying back and forth searching the area for their new digs. Now, usually, the swarming, festooning bunch is peaceful and not defensive, and they can be gathered up carefully and installed in new quarters with no problem. All of our honeybees are set up kind of out in front of the house, and at the beginning of this year, we had 3 colonies that overwintered. I think she lost 1. In years past, when spring got here, Kelly would buzz all over town, capturing swarms here and there as they came up. But not this year. Aside from that hive at the Speck House and one that she caught at a Carl's Jr., every other swarm literally came right to us. We caught 5 new swarms within 20 feet of the other hives. Now, I'm not sure how many of these were swarms that broke off from her existing 3 colonies, or how many of them were brand new wild swarms that were attracted to the other bees, but it sure made it easy for us. We have heard that bees are attracted to lemongrass oil, so we put some of that up in a nearby tree. And I can't say for sure if that's what did it, but I can tell you we're certainly going to be trying that again next year. Kelly is now up to 9 bee colonies total. And if things go well through the summer, we should have quite a bit of honey in the fall. Now, the honey flow depends entirely on when the rains come and how much nectar the flowers have available, which dictates how much work the bees can get done, right? I mean, they can fly back and forth as many times as they want, but if the honey flow is not strong, they're only going to get a marginal amount of honey by the time fall gets here. And so we'll just see how they do. But overall, keeping bees is a great hobby and can be pretty low impact. You only need a few things to get started, and I'll put links below in the notes to the equipment that we use that's worked well for us. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.